stories, you know, Jim Stewart and so. But anybody else that diving with Dickie Anderson, what's it like?
I've only dove with Dick once. It was a lot of fun. He
went out with you on this.
Well, he went out on another guy's boat, and we were going to meet him out there. And we all met at the harbor entrance and headed out. And Richard Lesser and I were in a little Boston whaler, and we go plugging out there, and we dressed at the shop because it was really cold that morning. And so we get out there. Anderson's putting on 3 or 4 of his suits. And so then we took him on board our boat, and we dove the rest of the day. Just absolutely one of the prettiest days. We drove the Dominator and the strange rocks and everything else. So he came back, and we all jumped in the pool, and he says, "This is the way to go diving." He says, "I can understand why you guys get dressed before you go out. You know, you're just 5 minutes from the diving site in the fast."
You say you dived the Dominator?
Yeah, we dove the Dominator.
Well, the Dominator's not underwater, is it?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's all underwater. There's one piece sticking up now. Most of it.
What is slid in? Is that?
Yeah, it's all busted up and rolled
I
down.
see.
Yeah,
is it a good diving area now? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Rough.
a dangerous place because
Yeah.
you could sure get knocked around in it. But it was just a dead calm day, and you could dive right up on the shoreline. Yeah. And I found some real pretty Mirexes there that were tinted with rust color because they had been on the boat itself. And we found a couple hunks of brass and stuff like that. It kind of turned Anderson on.
Who else have you been? Any of the superstars of diving?
I dove with Zale a couple times, but not anything really interesting. I dove with Del Giudice a couple times. You know, remember Henry do?
Oh yeah.
When he was checking the Celestronics Bendix underwater talking device, he'd down there and he'd say, "Mary had a little lamb," and I'd say, "Yeah, I know that." And I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he said, I said, "I can understand you, but I don't think you can understand me." I said, "You said Mary, and I knew you were going to say had a little lamb." And I said, "When you count to 1, you've got to count to 5. So we went down. He says, "I'll be able to hear every word you say." So he got down. I called him about 10 dirty names right in a row. And he didn't hear one of them. He kept going, okay. He could understand me. They were trying to sell that thing so desperately that they wanted anybody and everybody to give it a good word.
Oh, that's great.
So I went down and cussed him out, and he didn't know it.
Have you been diving with Sam McCoke?
I dove one time with Sam McCoke years and years ago at Shiprock. We were on the Sea Douche.
Is he a good diver?
He was a fair diver at that time.
He hasn't
dove in years. No, he didn't particularly stay with you. Very few divers dive together. In fact, the lifeguards and everybody are almost, and the boat owners and all of them are saying, buddy diving's out. Dive by yourself. Then you're not dependent on anybody. But I like buddy. Huh?
Do you like buddy?
Well, I think it's from being a twin. I don't enjoy being underwater by myself. I enjoy showing people things underwater. Because most of the people won't believe half the stories you tell anyhow. But then I have proof. But I really get a kick out of taking a class out and just giving them an underwater tour. Not letting them catch anything, but showing them different things. And they get bigger kick out of that. The Coopers never took 1 dime's worth of food out of the sea. They didn't want to catch anything. They just wanted photographic. Ed Jan, same way. He loves to see things, and we've seen the strangest things you've ever seen under the water. But I think it's from being a twin that I like to be with together. My brother and I are very close. If I had to jump out of an airplane, I'd feel better about that. Without a parachute, I'd feel better about jumping out with somebody and holding his hand, holding her hand. Anybody could hold his hand. But
what about women divers? Are there any that
Yeah, there's been a lot of very good divers.
We've got a story on her. From
the best gal that I know that can handle herself just about as well as anybody is a gal named Ann Howell that goes with Ed Jans. She's a fantastic diver underwater. She's dove every place, all over the world. She can really handle herself. She's not a good ab catcher or bug diver, but just an overall diver, she's very good. Vivian Pilmamis, Andy's wife, is one of the best divers I've ever dove with. Super girl diver. I dive with any one of my sons. I really enjoy diving with because they know they have to stay with me. My brother, it's kind of a 50-50 deal. We stay with each other. I love to dive with Roger Hess because he's a very competent diver and he's a good buddy. I keep him on my left side because I have the stronger eye on my left. My right eye is not very strong, so I play a buddy game that nobody else seems to be able to figure out, but there's only one place my buddy's supposed to be, and that's on my left. If he's on my right, he's in the wrong spot. If he's behind me or above me or in front of me or in back of me, he's in the wrong spot. He's got to be on my left.
Poor guy.
No, if you play that game, you'll enjoy buddy diving the rest of your life.
But maybe he wants to be on the right side.
Well, then have him move over here a little way. Crowd me over this way, see? But if you keep this position at all times, and you go this way, and
who gets the lead?
Nobody leaves.
Nobody leads.
Nobody leaves. Unless you're going through a tunnel or something like that.
Well, if he wants to go left, you want to go right. I mean,
if you want to go left, you motion to me. We're trying to make up a signaling device. So you don't have to yell or tap your tank or something.
Yeah.
For underwater. And you just motion to him, I'm taking a left-hand turn. You make that left-hand turn. It's very easy to buddy dive. I find it not very hard to do at all.
Well, what makes a good buddy for you? I mean,
a guy that cares enough about you equally, you know.
He's going to stop.
He's going to stop and worry about you. I think if every diver could think back, and this will go for you too, if you could think back and say, what happens when I lose a diver underwater? You've been teaching a class and one of the students disappears and you're in very shallow water and you know nothing. Your first thought is he's okay. My second thought, a half a second later, is he's not, and I'm going to find that guy. Before we do anything else, I'm going to find that guy. And that's the same way I do with buddy diving. I hate diving with three. I can dive with Jans very easily with three because there's just one way to dive with him, and that's to follow him. He plunks out, and Annie and I go behind him, and she watches me, and I watch her, and we both watch Jans.
Jans is no.
He's a multi-millionaire that I dive with every place. Super guy. 60-some years old. One of the most competent divers I know today.
But he likes to be in charge and he likes to be out in the lead.
No, he doesn't actually like to be in charge. You can go off and go diving someplace else, and he just bumps along by himself on the bottom. He's led his life, and he figures if he gets killed, that's too bad. He once told us when he was drunk that he had programmed his life. He paid his wife off $40,000 a year for life, and she remarried a millionaire right after they divorced. He's taking care of all of his kids and everything. And he programmed his life so that when he got to be 60, he had spent all his money. All of his millions had been spent. And he said, I got to 60 and I was enjoying life so bad I had to reprogram for 70. But he really intends, if he ever gets senile or crippled or he can't operate, he'll do himself in. I don't think that's too bad.
No, that's good.
I really don't. I'd probably want to do myself in out there.
Yeah.
Just make a real deep dive.
Yeah, that's
because you just get happier as you went.
Warm water.
I don't care whether it's warm or not. Jen says, you know, he said, we were diving in the Galapagos Islands, and he says, he was drunk, and he has one or two good drinks, and he really has stiff ones, and then he goes to bed about 8 o'clock. If you go to a party, you got to leave at 8 o'clock. He used to have two apartments in Marina del Rey, and we'd all eat in the one apartment, leave, go down the hall to 209. He'd serve dessert and disappear, and I'd have to entertain the people until they went home and locked the building up. A straight guy, super guy. He's in Plow right now. But he once said, I think that an older man would be willing to jump in the water before a young guy. It's because the older guy's led all his life, had a good time and everything. Yeah. Got not much to lose, maybe a few years. But where a young guy, he's got a lot of years to waste. So the next morning, he says, you told a story last night. Does that mean you're going to go in the water? He says, I didn't say that about me. I said, an older guy should.
Yeah. What profession have you found makes the best divers?
Just a common guy. The guy that comes right in off the street.
Not airline pilots, not doctors, not lawyers, not teachers. Not...
In fact, doctors, I think, are probably amongst the poorest. Because they don't have time to dive, and they do it once a month. It's like my favorite doctor. He told me, my son went out to him the other day, and he says, he told the doctor, my dad's been working so hard, he's really tired, he looks tired. Why don't you call him up and tell him that he saw me the other day, he's riding a bicycle, he wears dirty sneakers and long hair. He's a super doctor. He said, Bob, the other day, he says, I meant to call you, and he says, Ronnie was just out there, and he reminded me, you know, your name came up. He says, you really look tired and you ought to take 2 days off. And it's all bullshit. I said, I'm in great shape and I feel good and I'm enjoying it, you know. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take a couple days. I took 2 days off, got the flu, got over the flu, got a severe cold. I've had this damn stuffed up feeling ever since. I don't have a cold, but I just can't get over this.
I know it's been going around.
And you cough and you tickle in your throat.
Yeah.
So, but I've taken him to, he's come over to Catalina and he rents an apartment or a house at Cherry Cove or Emerald, 4th of July, and he brings his boat home. And I've taken him diving, and he's just in horrible shape, and he just doesn't use his head. He's damn near drowned down in the Cayman Islands. They had a doctor's convention down there, and he's the only one that made it out to the rock. lost his buddy, and he swam clear out to the reef. And here he was, just a little spot on this reef sticking up. And he went all the way out there by himself. They had to get a boat. They had to launch a special boat to go get him. Nobody would swim out to help him. And doctors are very, very, they just don't use their heads.
But you say common man. I mean, we're talking about
Just truck driver, street sweeper, garbage collector, something like that. He has probably not did this exciting thing, Other people have skied and flown airplanes.
He really puts
and
himself into it.
Like, I can't believe that Gary Cooper could enjoy diving. All the things that guy did in his lifetime. Same way with Ed Jans, He moves along on real slow underwater. Like me, I'm swimming back and forth. I'm going to see all of that reef because I probably never will get back there. He's going to go back there next year. And if he wants to, he'll go back next day. And if he wants to, he'll go back the next month. But me, I'll never get there. And so I'm excited about being underwater. And I swim 3 or 4 times as far as he does. So that's why I say that he can get more air out of this tank than I can. But I think that the guy that hasn't had, I have more fun than Ed does, I'm sure. But he has 500 times as much money as I do. I think I have as much fun as anybody there is alive, especially in the summertime. I truly enjoy the summer. But I think that the guys that don't get a chance, like when I'm going over to get fuel in my boat, there was a couple up there. There was a colored couple up there, man and his wife. I just know they had never been on a boat in their life. And they were looking at my boat, and they were looking at, boy, we'd like to have a boat like that. And I just, would you like to go for a ride? And they were tickled to death. I didn't need them, but I just took them. I didn't even know who they were, and I took them. I took them over to the fuel dock, and I gave them a little tour of the harbor and brought them back, spent some time with them. And the guy, he'll never come in and buy anything from him, but I just felt good about, that guy had a good time that day. Ed Jans will go down to Mexico. Here he is, a multi-millionaire. He could hire any amount of Mexican people to come on board if he felt the need to converse with Mexican people. But some people will be going by and he'll yell them, well, come over and have dinner with us?
Is that right?
Bunch of Mexicans. Smelly, dirty, filthy.
Is that right?
And we all get the biggest bang out. He'll have them and he'll give them he won't give them a grand tour himself because he's embarrassed about having a big boat and they having nothing. But he'll, Bob, would you like to take him on a grand tour of the boat? He'll take him in, show you inside his closet, his bathrooms, his bedrooms, everything. The guy's a super guy, just a real human being.
Fantastic.
A weird guy. Hey, that's got to be weird. Everybody says he's weird. He is weird. But that's kind of rubbed off on me. I've enjoyed diving since diving with it. That guy taught me more about diving than I ever will know.
Sounds like your most interesting character you know.
Because he's taught me to really relax and have a good time, I see so many more things since I've been diving with him than I ever saw in my life. Bob Cooley could go for 20 years. Never enjoyed diving. Always went to spear the biggest white sea bass and catch the most lobsters, and he saw dollar signs and all of that. Al Snippersnaw, I'll bet never enjoyed diving. How many years was it before you noticed the little Catalina goby over in Catalina? 50 times before I knew that little fish existed. We were looking for big lobsters. How many do you think Garibaldi hatch out every year? Very few of them hatch out on one year, and then the next year they all hatch out. Every other year or every 3 years, it seems like. But most people don't even notice that. But I look for things like that.
Yeah, I know you're getting out.
And I bet you there's hundreds of divers that have never seen a baby tree fish underwater and stuff.
Well, now, when you go with, which is the best kind of a diver to go with? A sightseer diver, a spear fisherman, an underwater photographer?
I'd much rather go with a sightseer. The guy that doesn't take a game.
Doesn't take a game bag, doesn't take a camera, doesn't take...
Next time you go out diving, you try my dive. Take your fins off. Don't even take them with you. And just get a little extra weight so that you can walk around and crawl on the bottom. And you'll have the time of your life.
Crawling dive.
That's one. The best dives I've ever been on in my life have been without my fins. Yeah. Roger Hess, I used to forget a pair of fins and he'd loan me one. He says, hell, I can keep up with him halfway with one fin, But some of the best dives I've ever had are without fins.
Well, what's the worst kind of person to go? A underwater photographer?
No, I think a spear fisherman
Spear
is.
fisherman?
Because you have to trail him or you're going to get shot. And you can't get ahead of him. You just dare not get ahead of him.
Yeah.
And when he turns around to see where you're at, he's got the gun pointed at you. I just hate to go with spear fishing. I really don't think there's ever going to be a successful buddy system in spear fishing until they have only one gun. And I think that's the way spear fishing meets ought to be. And then you'd have one gun on that surfboard, and that's all you can use. You can take spare parts with you so that it breaks, but they would perfect a spear gun, and they would not have a little one to shoot little fish with and a big one to shoot big fish with. They would have one all-around gun that they had to use. The diver would make the dive, and the other guy could watch him, and if he didn't come up right away, he could go down and search for him, or he could get help right away.
That's not bad.
And then they could come up and they could unload they could unload the fish, string him and stuff together, and then while the guy was taking the fish off, the guy could get the line back on, restring, and they can make. Then one guy be, a 4-hour contest for one guy is absolutely a ridiculous thing, and it's just a wonder they haven't lost more and more and more divers. One year there they just had. Well, they had 3 champions in Spain all die on the bottom.
That's right.
They found the one guy just sitting there. And it's ridiculous to put those guys. And I don't think it's all together skill. I think pretty much all of them. There's a couple of them that are really unusual, but all of them have pretty good skills. It's just, does a guy know the reef that well?
That's right. It's
and
territorial.
if he